What's going on, folks? It's your friendly neighborhood old soldier coming at you today from a hot day in Robinson County, North Carolina, where right now my van, or the wife's van, is giving a temperature of 83 degrees Fahrenheit on the outside. I think today it's supposed to get close to 90. Even though we had a really cool morning this morning. It was 56 degrees this morning when I got up. So it really made for a nice morning. But anyway, that's for you, Brother Kyle. I hope everybody's doing well. Well as can be expected. I'm off to go get some lunch for my daughter and son-in-law. And I hope I get to see my grandson. They were telling me this morning that if all goes well, that they might get to go home tomorrow. Her incision, where they did the C-section, is looking very well. The little infection that both of them had seems to have been nipped in the bud with the antibiotics that got them on. So, again, they're hoping to get to go home tomorrow, and we're excited for that and for them. And because of that, that's what I want to talk about. Because my oldest son, called me this morning. He works at an emergency room out in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And without giving up too much, anyway, said there was a case that come in, 5-month-old baby. Cigarette burns, broken ribs, multiple contusions, several fractures to the skull, malnourished, I'm trying to bite my tongue so I don't say something to get me pulled off of YouTube. I had to sit there and talk with my son, and I was kind of blunt with him, that, my son, you've entered into an occupation where you're going to see these things, and you're going to have to learn to deal with them. To kind of mentally prepare him that some of these things he's going to see are going to haunt him for the rest of his life, and that either he can let what he sees eat him up, or learn that there's only so much that he can do, and he needs to do as much as he can do within his sphere of influence. Okay? Within his sphere of influence. And but I could tell in the tone of his voice he was certainly upset about the events that occurred when this child was brought in, and the injuries that were rampant upon the child. What would I have done had I been there? I don't know. We all say things that what we would do, but the reality is, what do you do? From what he was telling me, the staff were contacting local officials in order to not only get that child removed from the household, but other children that resided in that same abode. And I pray that they are fully successful in their efforts to do so. With that, if you even remotely suspect a child is being abused, and I want to clarify it too, there's a difference between abuse and whooping your child. Okay, my kids can tell you, they got whoopings, but I never, ever, in anger, or as a form of punishment, hit either one of my children with a closed fist, a blunt object such as a bat or a bar or any of that mess, never did I. Never would I. I certainly didn't try to burn them with cigarette ashes when I got mad, if I got mad. But when a child is 5 months old, at that age, all that child does is eat, sleep, poop, and pee, and occasionally throw up. Okay? So again, if you suspect a child is being abused, report it. If you see a child being abused, do something. If you don't want to be physically involved, call law enforcement. But darn sure if you see a child's life being endangered, do your best to step in and stop the situation. Like the other day on my video, granted, she had her windows up, and that lady didn't care one way or the other, but sitting there texting on the phone, we're swerving all over the road and got a car full of kids. But it broke my heart last night, or this morning when my son called and told me this. And because there are times when you see this that it takes a whole lot of intestinal fortitude to keep from going and beating the snot out of somebody. And that, one thing I was trying to make my son wholly aware of, that he needed to control himself. I could tell in the tone of his voice, like I said, it was tearing him up. Sorry about that. I'm in the van. I don't have a mount, so the camera phone's sliding all over the place. My apologies for that. For those that watch this channel that have your own children, I believe all of you will agree your children are a precious, precious gift from God. And I'll be very bold to say they are a gift. They are ours for but a time. And we have an inherent responsibility to love them, to take care of them, to provide for them, to teach them. And I will say that to say this, that none of us are perfect in our efforts to do all of those. None of us ever will be. But if done so with love and compassion, a fair amount of discipline, even if your children stray, once they're on their own, they'll come back. That I can speak firsthand to. See, year before last, we almost lost our daughter. I think I've told y'all that before. Like a lot of young kids out here today, strung out on that mess. When she fell to her knees knowing she'd hit rock bottom, we were there for her. God above. Then he reached down and picked her up. I guess the moral of today's video is if you've got children, and I'm not saying anybody watches this channel abuses their children. I'm not saying that at all. Just speaking in general terms. For new viewers that watch this that may be having children for the first time, children are a precious gift, my friends. Raise them right in the eyes of the Lord. Teach them right from wrong. Show them love. Show them compassion. But if you feel the need that you've got to do, you get so angry, walk away. Get professional help. Walk away. If you've got newborns, those that have children, watch this channel know. Having newborns can be frustrating. There'll be times they cry and you don't know why, and you can't make them stop. You've tried everything and they still won't stop, and you're wondering why, and you're asking yourself why. Train's coming. You ask yourself why. You ask, what else can you do? And they still cry. And you're starting to feel frustrated. And you're starting to feel like you want to just physically do something. Stop and go get help. Get your significant other up to tend to the child. If you're by yourself with that child, set them down in a safe position, a safe place, and go call somebody to come and help you. For the love of all that is holy, no child deserves to be beaten or hurt because an adult can't deal with the situation. Anyway. But yeah, I'm excited though. I'm about to go see my grandson. I guess the visitation policies have changed up a little bit. Mrs. Old Soldier got to go see him and hold him yesterday. I can't wait to see my grandson in Kansas, even though it'll be next summer before we actually get to see him. Anyway, to all my friends and followers out there, I thank you. God bless you. And until next week, we'll talk to y'all soon. Old Soldier out.